दोस्तों, अगर हम लॉ एज अ करियर ऑप्शन की बात करें तो सबसे ज़्यादा अट्रैक्टिव करियर ऑप्शन लॉ से जुड़ा हुआ जो नज़र आता है वो है टू प्रिपेयर फॉर जुडिशियल सर्विस एग्जामिनेशन। और इस एग्जामिनेशन को क्वालिफाई किया जा सकता है अगर आप एक अच्छी स्ट्रैटेजी के साथ इसको अप्रोच करें और हार्ड वर्क के साथ ही साथ स्मार्ट वर्क को उसके साथ कंबाइन कर दें। क्योंकि इस एग्ज़ाम में ये इरेलीवेंट है कि आप किस लॉ स्कूल से पढ़ के आए हैं, चाहे आप एक स्टेट यूनिवर्सिटी से पढ़ के आए चाहे एनएलयू से। आपके पास अगर एक बेहतर स्ट्रैटेजी होती है तो आप इस एग्ज़ाम को ईजिली क्रैक कर सकते हैं। और उनसे बेहतर इस स्ट्रैटेजी के बारे में कोई नहीं बता सकता है जिन्होंने खुद इस एग्ज़ाम को क्वालिफाई किया हो। तो इस वीडियो में मैंने बात की हर्षिता राठौर मैम से, जिन्होंने राजस्थान जुडिशरी का एग्ज़ाम को क्वालिफाई किया विद ऑल इंडिया रैंक 49। इस वीडियो में उन्होंने इंपॉर्टेंट इन्फॉर्मेशन दी है स्ट्रैटेजी को लेके, इंटरव्यू को फेस करने से लेके प्रेशर सिचुएशंस को हैंडल करने तक। तो अगर आप इस वीडियो को अंत तक देखेंगे तो मैं आपको ये विश्वास दिलाता हूं कि आपको काफ़ी सारी इंफॉर्मेशन मिलेगी विद रिगार्ड टू प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर जुडिशियल सर्विस एग्जामिनेशन। तो आइए शुरू करते हैं इस वीडियो को। थैंक यू।
It's really an honor and privilege to have with us Harshita ma'am, who qualified Rajasthan Judicial Services with All India rank 49 in the year 2019, just after graduating from Gujarat National University. So ma'am, it's really an honor to have you with us today, in which you will be sharing, and all the aspirants who are preparing for judicial services will get benefit out of it. So it's really an honor and I'm really grateful to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. It's completely my pleasure.
So ma'am, my first question would be that when the results were declared for judicial services, so what was your first reaction? What was the first feeling that struck you?
Of course, it was a very wonderful feeling. Like, it doesn't have to be mentioned that way. I'm sure everyone who got selected felt really good. And for me, what was different was that it was my parents who got to know before me that I have cleared it. And it was at 2 in the night. They woke me up and told me that you've become a civil judge now. And it was a very different feeling because you tend to, imagine this day in your head while you're preparing that you will clear it and you will tell your parents, you'll run to them and tell them that you've cleared it. But for me, it was the other way around. And I'll have this in my mind for the rest of my life that they were the ones who told me that I have cleared it. And of course, it was a very, very wonderful feeling. You feel like all that has gone through into this preparation and everything, suddenly all those years become worth it. So of course it's a very wonderful feeling.
And of course it is very nice that it is the parents who heard the result first time, because they are the motivating factor, pushing you always ki, no, you can do it, you can do it. So ma'am, as you graduated from NLU, the NLU has an impression of being inclined towards more corporate sector. So preparing for judicial services, it was in your mind and it was your goal before joining the NLU, or on the later stage when you joined NLU and after in the second or third year? So you plan to go for judicial?
So basically, when I was studying in the law college, I had no such aspiration per se that I have to clear the judicial services examination. In fact, I tried interning in firms as well. And all I had in mind was just, the academics in the college that happened. And of course, NLUs have a very corporate culture, and they have all those kind of preparations where you tend to get inclined towards the corporate firms and everything. So I tried interning there, but then I did not find it my cup of tea, and it was not something that I thought I would grow working at those places. So that is why I think it was only after fifth year that I realized that this would be a good opportunity for me as a person that I am, that I would be able to bring maybe some change at the grassroots level. So yeah, it was pretty much not in my mind even until the fifth year. So
it was,
that time it was all academic.
It was after fifth year that you decided to go for judicial.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So ma'am, there's an apprehension in the mind of every aspirant that I don't come from an NLU or I don't come from a renowned university. So does a law school shapes you in certain manner, or in your preparation, or it doesn't matter much? It is just your own sheer hard work that you put in that eventually matters.
Absolutely, I agree with what you said, that it is not important that you know from which college you graduated from, because of course judicial services do not demand a degree from NLU. they just want a law degree. So there has to be a reason behind it. The only thing that I felt, somehow the pattern of the judicial services examination, especially the mains, is also changing with time. So they are also shifting towards a lot of analytical questions, reasoning based questions, practical problem based questions. So I somehow saw a difference in the approach of aspirants who have, completed the law from traditional college or from a NLU or similar level of colleges. So that difference comes into play, but then I don't think that is a very major hindrance that, people who are preparing and have done their degree from traditional college, I'm sure they should not feel this inhibition that, only a person from NLU or a very good law college can, get through judicial services. I don't think it plays, I would not even say major, I don't think it plays any role in, especially in the judicial service examination.
Because ultimately it is the books from which you have to study, prepare notes, and
Correct,
help you in
absolutely.
excelling it. So ma'am,
Yes.
like,
And also, I would like to add one thing is that the way we are taught in NLUs and other, private law colleges and everything, that approach is really different from what we need to keep while preparing for a judicial service examination. Like you said, you need to study from the books, you need to make your own notes, you need to focus on the bare acts. While I am like, for in the 5 years of my law college, I do not think I even completed a single bare act from top to, from the first page to the last page. So the approach is absolutely different. So I don't think that is also one of the reasons that I think in that manner, going by the previous pattern of especially RJS, the papers have been very theoretical based. So in that sense, the people from traditional college in fact excel at that front more than the people who have studies from NLU.
Because they have a good grip upon the Bare Act, the section interpretations.
Exactly. Absolutely.
So ma'am, as we know that when you go and enter into a law school, the curriculum is very strict. You have to go for internals, externals. There's a proper process that you have to go for before you take up the degree. So how tough it is to manage the law school along with the judicial preparation, as you must be having certain batchmates who started preparing while being in the law school. So how tough it is to manage both?
See, if you talk about preparation of judicial services, I personally feel that, it is not a matter of more than a year. So what I have experienced in law college is that fifth year is not as hectic as all the other 4 years because you don't have a lot of classes. You have to just, like, for a few subjects, you only have to give dissertations. So there is not a lot of academics, hovering over you. Fifth year is gets tiring for people who are going for placements at that time if they're not placed in the fourth year. So fifth year is, comparatively, it has a lot more time for your own personal, aspirations if you have any other than the office.
So ma'am, did you have batchmates who started preparing? Because I have seen people that, in spite of devoting 3 to 4 years for the judicial preparation, they are not able to get through. And sometimes I see that they lack in the answer writing thing. Like for a person like me, I'm not good at writing the long answers. So what should be the ideal preparation to go for answer writing and to practice for the answer writing thing?
So for this, I would suggest is that, what happens when you start preparing for any judicial service examination, what people generally tend to do is they prepare for prelims, only prelims, and they are, they have that approach ki theek hai, prelims clear ho jayega, then we'll study for mains. So what I would suggest is never go for that, because if once you start doing that, you lose out on that time for the preparation for mains. Because after you clear prelims, there is not a huge amount of time for you to prepare for mains. So what I basically followed is, now this is a very personal approach because I have always had a habit of making notes and studying. Like if I don't write, I feel that I don't remember things. So what I did was, since the beginning, I saw all the previous year question papers of mains of all the states of judicial services, and I tried to prepare answers for all of them. I referred books, I referred bare acts, and I framed answers for them. And after that, when I had to study.
Yes, ma'am. So you were telling.
So, yeah, so for mains, you should always have this approach for preparing for mains, because prelims can always be done through previous year question papers of all the states, because there is a limit to objective questions. There cannot be a lot of objective questions, so you tend to prepare for prelims by default when you're preparing for mains. So answer writing is like you prepare as much amount of content for a question as you can, because eventually it depends on what is asked. Now, what I have seen people do a common mistake is that especially in RJS, we have a booklet in mains exam, so we don't have a separate answer sheet, so we are given spaces to write the answer. Now what people tend to do is they tend to fill the complete space, and RJS mains paper is a bit lengthy, so people miss out on questions in trying to fill the whole space, which is a very wrong approach if you ask me, because your answer should always stick to the point. Whatever is asked, even if it is for 8 marks, you should only answer what is asked. People
So
tend
it
to
should be
go far beyond and
precise and concise rather than writing the university answers, filling the
absolutely.
because time
Yeah,
management.
because time management is there, and we should always see from the other side also. The examiner has to check a lot of papers. He does not have the time to read through all our answers, so the presentation should be good enough that the examiner can actually see whatever he wants to see and then mark you, instead of filling pages. I don't think, yeah, so what you were saying, like in university and college we tend to fill papers because that's how we get marks. So that approach, I personally don't think it fetches you marks in mains. So answer writing should be in the way that they have asked the question. Like you should have that creativity to mold the answer the way the question is asked. So people tend to miss out on that, which is why I think a lot of people lack the skill of writing answers.
So this is the important takeaway for the aspirants, that you have to prepare for mains along with prelims rather than first preparing for prelims and then going for mains.
Absolutely.
So ma'am, if I may ask you that, do you think that it is necessary to join a coaching center when you go for judicial preparation, or the self-study is sufficient for you to go through it? And what benefits does a coaching center helps you? In what way the coaching center helps you in preparing for this examination?
Okay, so first of all, I do not think that coaching is absolutely necessary to clear the exam. The benefits that I personally thought getting out of this is that you become aware of your competition. First of all, like you go out, you see people who you are going to compete against. So that is one good thing about going to the coaching. Another thing is that when you're self-studying, you tend to miss out on a lot of recent developments and regarding anything, regarding the general knowledge aspect or the pattern of the exam or the syllabus of the exam, anything. It's very natural that you tend to miss out on something. So coaching helps in that. And also a lot of times, people while doing hard work, they forget how to do the smart work. Yes. So I think the coaching would help you in doing that smart work, where you get to know that this part, because if you personally ask me, it was very difficult for me to leave portions of, the say supposedly IPC, there are a lot of portions which are not important from the exam point of view, but then you fear leaving that on your own. You need someone to tell you that nahi aayega exam mein, tum aaram se chhod do isko. So coaching maybe helps in those aspects, that you are aware of your competition. And also, of course, if you have a good group, then group discussion is a big thing that helps you. So yeah, that's how coaching might.
It provides you a discipline as well. मतलब अगर आपका मन नहीं है पढ़ने का, आपको लगे कि क्लास है, तो schedule you have to maintain. So जाना ही पड़ेगा क्लास.
Correct.
So it helps you in that way. And sometimes the teachers also motivate कि नहीं कोई कुछ नहीं होता, start again.
हाँ, correct. Absolutely. It's very, and also test series that people tend to join. It's a good thing. Like you get to assess yourself, you get to test yourself, and as you said, schedule. So even if there is the whole day, you can plan around your schedule. Even if you have to go for 2 hours in a day, you plan your whole day around it. So it helps. Definitely.
How to manage the peer pressure? Like you have the batchmates who are taking the packages in the law firms while you are still preparing for judicial services. And sometimes you are not able to crack it on the first go, and you are still devoting more years to it, while you see your batchmates, they are working and earning well enough. So what is the motivating thing that can push you up to have a to not think about the peer pressure or the people who have joined the legal firms?
See, it's easier said than done, because I've also felt this pressure while I was preparing. But now that I have, come out of it and I'm on the other side, uh, I know it's a very, casual thing to say, a very obvious thing to say, but trust me, it gets all worth it once you are on the other side. I know that at that point of time, it's a lot of pressure. You see people getting placed, you see people getting whatever they aim for, and you are just struggling with your books and your notes and everything. And at times, it's not even in our hands, because you never know when the vacancy would come, you never know when the exams would be scheduled. So it's pretty, haphazard. But then in such times, all you can do is you can think about what will happen when once you clear it. That motivation, that is a big driving force, because that kept me going. And also, for people whose family supports them in all of this and gives them all the time they need, I'm sure the imagination of the look on their faces once you clear the exam is enough to be a driving force. And also, I would personally suggest keep a group which is just like you, like people who are preparing. I'm not saying stop talking to friends who are placed and who are already doing good, but at times you need to change your circle to keep yourself sane. So yeah, I know
Keep
it's a
yourself away from the
bit harsh advice.
and keep yourself away from the pessimist people whom you believe that they can
Absolutely,
motivating
absolutely,
force, and especially the relatives who are
absolutely,
calling you up, now what next? So, ma'am,
definitely. That is unsaid.
so what is the main obstacle that you faced while preparing? So what was that obstacle? Because it is very necessary to know the obstacle so that you can counter it as well.
So obstacle, like you already mentioned, first thing is looking people around you get placed, get settled. That is very unsettling, and you need to find your way out of it. And also, it is only you who can find the way out of this. There is nobody who can help you in that. It's just your mind playing games with you. That is the worst thing. And your mind plays various kinds of games with you when you are in that situation. So that is the most, that's like the most obstacle that you face the most in this whole journey, your mind playing games with you. Apart from that, a lot of people try other state judicial service examinations also while preparing, because they're like, prelims ka mostly the syllabus is same only. So when you don't clear those prelims or those mains, it gets a bit disheartening, and then you have to overcome that thing also and then focus on whatever. I'm sure everyone is focusing on it, one state services for sure. So that those kind of obstacles come in, and again, those relatives and pessimistic people all around you. But I'm sure it's a very if the driving force or the motivation that I was talking about, if that is very clear and placed in your head, I'm sure all of these can be overlooked and
because my mentor used to tell me that just imagine where you want to reach. Like if you are preparing for judiciary, imagine yourself as a judge daily, because then the subconscious mind will come and would motivate you. That is your journey.
Definitely.
And for the if you want the goal to love you, you first have to love the process and trust the process in it.
Definitely. It is all worth it. You learn a lot in the whole process also. You learn a lot about yourself. And in all this process, all of these things that you learn about yourself, that helps you a lot while you're appearing for the interview. Because the interview panel is not seeing you on your knowledge. They've already seen your knowledge in prelims and mains. It is more about a personality test. So it really develops you a lot.
So as the local laws differ from one state to another, so is it the right way to choose certain states which suit your language and then prepare for them simultaneously, or to stick to one particular state and prepare accordingly? Because for the mains, the syllabus does differ a bit along with the local laws as well. So what is the ideal thing as per you?
See, this is again a very subjective thing, because I know a lot of people who appeared for a lot of states simultaneously and cleared one or more of them, and they were good in all of them. And I know people who focused on 3-4 states and did not get through either of them. So it is a very subjective thing, and I think that it's okay to give other state examinations, but I think what even more than the local laws or the other subjects, what one should keep in mind is the language. So because especially like I appeared for Gujarat State Judicial Services as well. I went on to write the mains for the same, but then I could not clear it because of Gujarati.
Yes.
So language is a big barrier, and apart from that, I think giving other state exams is not. But you should keep in mind that when the state that you really want to work in, when that exam is approaching, your approach should stick to that state pattern only. So prelims ke liye you can give. I'm sure MP is there, UP is there, Delhi is there, Haryana is there. A lot of prelims are easy to give. But when you
languages where we speak.
yeah, absolutely, Hindi speaking states. Yeah, so it is easy. But then when mains comes into play, that time you have to change your approach for each state. Like every state has a different pattern, so that should be kept
Actually,
in mind.
I believe when the aspirants appear for other states, this is because कि वो risk factor होता है कि आप एक ही state पे अगर stick किए हुए हो, तो आपको लगता है कि यार it is very risky. यही नहीं निकले तो बाकी we can actually have a whole
correct.
But there's a series of Scam 1992 where he says that risk है तो risk है. So it is necessary to take the risk in this as well. A bit of
Definitely,
risk.
definitely.
So ma'am,
That is what I was talking about. It gets all worth it once you get through it. So there are a lot of things involved, and I can say all these things because I'm on the other side now. But when I was also in that place, I knew how difficult it was for me also. So it's very subjective.
So ma'am, in the interview, what is necessary? Like this is the final stage, the interview part, and you know that you have worked so hard. The interview pressure is there. And so many aspirants, they get rejected finally in the interview. So what is the ideal thing that you should stick to while facing the interview?
So this was my first attempt at the interview. I hadn't faced the interview before, so I really don't even know how it went. I just went inside, and of course that pressure is there because you know that if you fail at this stage, you have to start from the scratch. It's not like you have to next year only appear for the interview. But what I experienced in my interview, it was mostly that they do not test you on your knowledge. Like during my interview, the first two questions that were asked to me, I did not know the answer to it, and I was very clear. I just said, sorry ma'am, I do not know. And she was like, so don't try and pretend, because the people who are sitting there have a huge amount of experience. They will know in a click that you're lying and that you're bluffing or you're just faffing. So I was very honest, and I just went and said, sorry ma'am, I do not know. Sorry ma'am. And after they asked me if that I should try answering it, that is when I said, maybe ma'am, the answer is this. So the approach there is, first of all, don't pretend to answer questions that you don't know. It is okay. They're not testing your knowledge. Maybe that is not your expertise area. Like they asked me questions from CPC, and I had always had a kind of fear around CPC. So I said, no, I do not know the answer. The other questions I answered, all the other questions. So that is okay, that they're not testing your knowledge. All you need to do is you need to be very confident about yourself. You should be aware. You should be self-aware, basically. Like whatever they ask about you, you are not pretending. You're just being yourself, and whatever it is, just be honest.
So ma'am, is language a barrier in it? Like if you are from a Hindi medium student and then you go and approach the interview, so you should speak both in English and Hindi, or stick to one language and just complete the interview in that process, in that fashion?
Basically, mostly in all the interviews, they ask you this only first thing: are you comfortable in Hindi or are you comfortable in English? So they are all, mostly everyone is very nice, and they make you feel very comfortable while you're sitting for the interview because they know the pressure you're feeling. So it's okay. You can switch languages also. It's all about just trying to convey to them whatever you are, trying to say. You should be very clear in explaining to them. That's
rather than mingling around the answers, just stick to either you know it or you don't know it, rather than mingling around and wandering around. I can try.
Don't guess. They will. You can, once you say you don't know, if they ask you that, at least give it a try, then you can try, because now they know that you don't know the answer. You're just, trying a guess. Or you can ask them after saying that I don't know. You can ask them, ma'am, if you want, I can give it a try. Or sir, if you want, I can give it a try. So that is how it works. There's no point, because they are very experienced. They will know it in a second. So there's no point. It will only give a wrong impression. That's it.
So ma'am, as this judiciary journey of yours has just ended and you are into this training period, which will end soon. So what next? Do you have any other future plans related to academics or any other thing? Like what next do you plan after judiciary?
Almost like my training is almost about to end, and I think I can say that like it has been affected a lot due to COVID. But even then, I can say that I'm pretty much sure that I'll continue this only. So as of now, I don't think I have any other, change of plans or any future academic plans. So this is working good as of now. I don't know 5 years, 10 years down the line what happens, but as of now, I don't think I want to, get out of this. So this has come really difficult. So I'm happy keeping it.
So any tips in the end that you want to give to the aspirants who are still preparing or thinking about preparing for the judicial services? So any tips or the things that you can provide from your own experience to the aspirants so that they get benefit out of it?
See, first thing that I tell to everyone who asks me is that keep revising, because the problem that most of the students face is they study a lot and they study from a lot of places, and then they mix up things and then they forget everything when the paper comes in front of them. So I would suggest is that when you make a timetable, and every 10-15 days, keep a block of 1 or 2 days for revision for whatever you have studied, because it is a huge amount of syllabus and it is very difficult to retain. So revision is the only key, and barracks are of course very important. That should always be your base. Even if you don't focus a lot on the books and case laws and everything, barrack, if your barrack concept is strong, it will help you interpret the law and you will be able to appear even the problem based questions. And second thing is that this is a very philosophical thing, but this I experienced personally, is that when you enter the examination hall, once you give the exam and you come out of it, you should be very satisfied in your mind that you have given your 100%. Even if you were given a month more, or an hour more to appear the paper, you could not have done better than this. And if that is your approach, because I have experienced this when I gave other state exams, I used to feel very anxious and I was like, pata nahi result mein kya aayega, pata nahi pass honge ki nahi, pata nahi kya hoga. And I did not clear those papers. But in RJS, in all the three stages, when I came out of the examination hall or the interview room, I was very satisfied, and I did not, in that state of mind, you do not care about the result. You are just happy that you did your best, and result is not in your hands. Honestly, luck plays a very big role in competition exams. This I have seen. So you should be satisfied with your hard work. You should be satisfied you've given your 200%. After that, there are a lot of other factors that affect your results. So that is not in your hands. So that positive approach helps a lot. It will surely give you positive results. I'm very sure of this, and this is from my own personal experience. So yeah, I can vouch for that.
And rather than putting the pressure on you, like for 24 hours, I'm preparing for judiciary, you must devote, as per me, although I'm not a judicial services aspirant, but what I've seen in life, that you must also go to perform yoga, do exercise, meditate.
Definitely.
Because thinking every time about the same entrance exam in a single room, it will add on to your pressure. So it is very necessary to release that pressure as well.
You should always keep one hobby in place, something that is there for you when there are a lot of times you don't feel like studying. So I don't think, there are people who say that I used to study for 15 hours a day, 18 hours a day. If you ask me honestly, I do not believe it to be true, because I don't think it's humanly possible. There's a difference between actually studying and opening a book and, just sitting there and letting other people think that you're studying. So I never had a schedule of 10 hours a day. There were times I only used to study 3-4 hours a day, because I could not study if I'm not willing to study. I would, at that point of time, it is better to, watch a movie, listen to some music, play a game, and then that, okay, fine, I am, in a better state of mind. Now I can study. So, bina man ke padne se acha hai you do something that you like and you come in that frame of mind again, and then, again started. So it's not like you have to have a very, strict routine of 15 hours a day, 16 hours a day. It's not I don't think it's very healthy also for your preparation.
It is necessary to keep a count on your nerves to be cool when you approach for such entrance examination, and rather than thinking about
it's very important
all day long.
Definitely.
I hope that the interview we just conducted, it will help all the aspirants who are preparing for judicial services, whether they are going for coaching center or not. They can still prepare, and they need to keep a calm. They need to have a hold of their nerves and be motivated and leave all the pessimist people aside. So, ma'am, I'm really grateful to you that you devoted such a time of yours from your busy schedule, and I'm really grateful.
It
Thank
was all my pleasure.
you. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. And like I want to wish good luck to all the aspirants, and I'm sure I'll see a lot of people around. So yeah, it was really wonderful.
And
Thank you.
we will write someday that we heard such and such interview, ma'am imparting such valuable
I hope
knowledge.
so.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.